I've always loved acting. For me, it's always been about the work, about the role, about the script. So I always found a delight in creating characters and doing important stories.
You have been busy lately, and you're in a big summer comedy, Stuber. What drew you to this movie?
It's hilarious. I have to say, the script was hilarious, and I knew who was doing it. I knew that it was Kumail Nanjiani, who, honestly, I think his Saturday Night Live opening monologue is like the best ever. And him paired with Dave Bautista as the sort of, more Neanderthal attitude cop on a mission to, avenge his former partner's death. But he's had LASIK surgery, so he can't see anything. So he commandeers this Uber as his cop car.
Koreatown, now.
Hold on, I'm gonna bang a Yui here real quick. Nope, don't got it.
That combination is like comedic gold.
I love that it's basically in this kind of Uber that we're all in Ubers now, right? You think about like how this could go off the rails. It certainly does.
Yes, it's an electric Uber. The Kumail's character is named Stu.
Ooh, new ride? It's not bad. How'd you afford this, Stuber?
You can stop calling me that.
What, Stuber?
Yeah.
Dude, your name is Stu. You drive Uber. It'd be a crime to not call you that.
And it becomes the getaway car. It's crazy, and he's so worried about it's a lease and everything. He's getting blood and broken glass all over it, and he's very worried about his 5-star rating, which keeps lowering over the night.
You didn't cancel.
It affects my rating. I can't drop below 4 stars or I lose this job.
Are you an Uber customer?
Yes.
Do you know what your rating is?
I know it's not very good. My daughter said it's really pathetic. I didn't think it was that bad, but I don't actually know the actual figure. But she's like, "Oh, Mom, you have a terrible Uber rating." But it's probably because when I get in, I'll bring food with me. There'll just be some crumbs, and I'll try and pick them up, get rid of them. I might bring a dog,
A few things. I don't know why my Uber rate, I feel like I'm the best Uber customer. I think I tip well. I am not bringing animals.
I always tip.
But mine is not that great either. Uber is a big stock for us here at Yahoo Finance. Went public recently. Do you follow the stock market at all?
I don't at all. It's so sad. I used to have money in the stock market. And then September 11th happened, and I was convinced not to pull my money out because if every American pulled their money out at that point, we'd have a terrible crash. But I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars that I did not get back.
So all this happening sort of during the Great Recession, once you
yeah, just things plummeted, and then by the time that I had to pull money out of it before it could grow back. Now, if I had kept it in, but so I am not a gambler. I do not enjoy playing with money and seeing it go down. Literally, my kid's college fund has gone down in the past year. I'm like, what? No, we're putting money in. That number should be steadily rising. And, that is, I guess, based on, investments in the stock market. But honestly, no, I don't like to play with my money.
Look, everybody comes at it differently, and it's so interesting as we've been talking to different people through My 3 Cents. And it reminds me, we talked to Eva Marie Martino, who's Susan Sarandon's daughter, and you also come from
together. We did a movie together.
So you know her, and she comes from an acting family, and your dad, Paul Sorvino, another successful actor, and she talks a lot about growing up with artists and in a family of actors not learning about money and finances. Is that something that you could relate to?
Well, because acting is a gig economy, you don't have a steady job unless you are on a long-running hit series. Unless you are on a long-running hit television series, there is no job security, and it changes from year to year what you're working on and how much you'll be paid. I think because my parents were of a rather generous nature, we'd have a banner year and really live it up, and then the next year would be rather lean, and that would be nervous-making. But there wasn't that much you could do about it, honestly, because there is no set income. So, yes, maybe I'm not the best. Maybe that's also part of being an artistic personality. But we try and be sane. I have 4 kids, so I have to plan for the future and their present, and
Another theme that we've seen talking to actors is sort of when they get started. There's a side hustle. for sure. Even if you have success at some level, there's a lot of times when you need to do something else out there. Chrissy Metz, who was just here, we talked about working at McDonald's. You had success pretty early. Did you have a hustle?
Yes, yeah, many. Well, the hustle sounds so kind of shady.
Okay,
But,
did you have another job?
I waitressed. I had a job at Tribeca Productions as a script reader. I would read scripts that were submitted to Robert De Niro and Jane Rosenthal's production company. And I waitressed at a place called Mumbles. I bartended, but it was like a wine and beer bar, so actually the cocktail waitresses made more than the bartenders because all we did was just basically open bottles and pour them rather than, mixologist excitement, I tutored Chinese. I did some freelance photography. I was a model briefly. I did a ton of stuff.
Is there anything you miss about the moonlighting days?
Yeah, I don't know. There was something romantic about having only enough money to get through that next 2 weeks and, just splurging on like a tiny thing or, just going out with my friends and having a good time, and it had nothing to do with money. Like just riding the subway everywhere, just doing the real New York, starving artist routine. And it was fun. I did live in a really disgusting apartment with a lot of vermin and a lot of strange people in it, and my tub was in the kitchen and my bathroom was in the hall.
You had one of those?
I did. It was a tenement, fifth floor walk-up railroad flat, and the front apartments had interior bathrooms, but the back apartments each had like a WC in the hallway with your own key. So you had to leave the confines of your apartment to go use the toilet in the middle of the night, which was really frightening. And my tub was underneath my kitchen cabinets. There was no way to have a shower, and I would have to dry my dishes over the tub on a rack, and sometimes the rack would tip over and all this broken glass would be in my bathtub. So, that was the romance of being a young actress in New York.
Obviously, Mighty Aphrodite, everybody knows you from that. Romy and Michele. I mean, can you believe how popular that movie still is?
It endures because it sort of speaks to something that I think a lot of people relate to. Being a geek in high school, most of us were not the prom king and queen, although weirdly my husband was. He was nominated, like homecoming king, but not me. I definitely was not. People were super mean to me, and I was in all the honors classes, and so I was a total geek with glasses and a couple of best friends, and it was us against the world. And so I think that feeling of, the mean group and then the outliers, kind of forging their own path and loving each other and making their own rules. I think a lot of people relate to that, as well as the crazy outfits and hair and stupidity, ridiculousness, and the great 80s music.
And the dancing.
Yeah,
the dance. Of course. Reunion possibilities.
I would be so happy to do a sequel, but it's all up to the people that have the rights, and that would be Disney. So if everybody wants a Romy and Michele sequel, just tweet. Just respectfully, let's be nice, but just say, please, Mickey Mouse, let's make a sequel, because people are still hungry for it. It only grows in popularity.
You have had a long career, for sure, but recently you've been sort of back in the news as this activist that has come out, and you have talked really publicly about your career being, as you put it, derailed by Harvey Weinstein. When you look back at it now, what did you lose because of Harvey Weinstein?
I lost access to studio films, to be in studio films. Like, that just went away. And I did a lot of television over the years and independent films, but Stuber is my first studio film in like over a decade. There's talk of like a blacklist that existed, and I've heard of other really, really famous people who have not been in the news who said that as soon as he was exposed, as they put it, the fatwa was lifted and they were able to work again. Like super famous people, much more famous than myself, who had been kind of, waning in castability. So it's real, but you know what? I'm not looking backwards, I'm looking forwards, and I'm really excited about my career right now. I've been doing some great work. It's been a really good time professionally, and honestly, I have 4 children, and they are the light of my life, along with my husband, and they're what is most important to me, so I do not gauge my earthly success on whether I am a huge star or not. Like, I gauge it on, are my children happy? Do we get to spend enough time together? Are we doing good things, not only for each other, but for other people? Like, service is really important in my family, like, volunteerism kind of just being a part of society in a useful manner is really important, not just being an entertainer, but being an activist. It's kind of in our blood.